Guys, wake up. This is not the time to fall asleep on Bitcoin and the crypto markets. Welcome to Empire Trading Academy, guys. Hit the like, hit the subscribe if you have not already. Let's get right into this. As usual, technicals first, on-chain data second. If we're looking at the chart on Bitcoin, guys, you know that we've been just trading in this range as normal for the past, 2 weeks, right? Trading in this range between 42,000 and 40,500. Yet to break it, okay? We had set up these Elliott wave patterns for a possible breakout of this, okay? We knew that this is our fifth wave going up. Now, I haven't drawn it out because I want to show you exactly what I have been watching, okay? Now, off of this final and fifth wave, we go into our three corrective waves, okay? Now, this is what we were looking at originally, okay, as our three, and then we go ahead and we start our five up. So we come off of this, okay, and we go ahead, and our original idea was something like this, remember? And this is what would take us back up into this trading range, okay? Now, the way that this is playing out is not exactly, obviously, the way that we had shown, okay, the idea that we had, but this technically is not, this is not completely invalidated yet. All right. So if we continue to assume that this was our corrective wave here, okay, our ABC corrective wave down to here, and we're still in this move, this still very well could be our first move here and our second corrective elongated corrective wave there. And then we can go ahead and then we can make our way up to something like that. That's very possible. Okay. Remember, our second and our fourth corrective waves are usually the opposite of whatever the first does. So if this is a flat or longer correction, this is going to be normally a shorter, steeper correction. Okay, and vice versa. If this is nice and quick, really short sell-off, right? Then this is going to be elongated before our fifth wave. All right, so that's what we're looking at there, okay? Coming off of there, that's very possible that happens. Now, again, our invalidation is still going to be this level here, because if this is our first wave, okay, if this is our first, the start of our first wave, then we cannot break below or else we're invalidated. All right, so if that's the way that our patterns go, that is what we're going to use as invalidation. Okay, let's go ahead and take this off. Okay, and if we go ahead and we take the fib retracement off of this move, right now we're at the 236. Okay, that's definitely a common retracement off of our first impulse move. So that could make sense. And again, we could retrace all the way to this 41,689. Okay, that's still possible and still be valid for our second corrective wave. Okay, now there is another scenario where this is our first macro, right? So we have these five waves within an impulse move. Okay, and so this could be our first. That is an idea, and it's possible that we do get a correction, something like this. To scale, it doesn't make too much sense in my opinion, but we could have something of a flat correction like this. Okay, and then we could actually retest these lows, which is definitely possible. We get this really flat, elongated correction. That could be possible. Okay, we retest these lows again before we start our next impulse move, and that would continue to keep this valid. Right, so that would be our correction. And then we go ahead and we start up off of here, okay? Okay, that would bring us back up into the range. Now, remember, guys, remember what happened. Now, we don't want to trade based off of previous structures. Okay, but especially Bitcoin and crypto, there are definitely fractals that happen. Okay, if we zoom out, now this kind of, remember this is the area that we were looking for, right? where we have this kind of flat area. We have a new high, right? We make this high. It's a lower high from here, but we push up this high, and then we kind of retest these lows, okay, before we go into our main part of the bull market. Now, very similar thing happening here, right? We come in flat, we make this high, we're tracing back down, and so it's possible that we get something like that off of these big support levels. The biggest one, obviously, is the one that we bounced off of at 40,500. So that's relatively that's big. Okay, if we're looking at this one ascending trend line that we're looking at used as support right now is coming off of this high here. Okay, and we've tapped this. We use this area. Remember, it's never going to be just one line, but we use this area as both resistance and support. Okay, we use it as resistance here. We flip this and we use it as support. And right now we're using it as support again. Okay, so it's possible that we use this. Also on the RSI, we're getting this really clean downtrend, right? And whenever we see this on any of our structures, guys, there's only one way to break out of this. Okay, and so we get this squeeze all the way down to 30, right? And there's only one way to break out, which makes sense because we have this, we have our ascending trend line, right, going back for over a year now, also at big macro supports. So all those are lining up. Okay, but remember to practice proper risk management. You always want to practice that. It could, at any time, it could go against you, and you should almost assume that it will go against you so that you manage your position correctly. Make sure you cut your losses very quickly. Take positions. Only take positions where the risk to reward is very high. Okay, this is how you're going to become a successful trader in the long run. All right, and so that's what we're looking for on the technicals, guys. Okay, still trading in that range. We do have something of a descending wedge right here. Okay, we're just trading in this range right now. Absolutely nothing. This is the point where possibly, capitulation is happening, and people have already kind of given up, and it's possible that we continue to trade in this range, and we just slowly make our way up before retail starts coming back in. And that leads us to our on-chain. Okay, this is total supply held by short-term holders, a massive metric that we're looking at right now, but watch until the end to go over this with us. Okay, first, futures open interest. Again, we wanted to see this kind of cleared out, but there's really no increase at all. Okay, still decreasing slightly, nothing concerning, or really not much happening on this. And again, this fits the narrative of, this is very much capitulation. Okay, very much giving up. Kind of, we've had a elongated sell-off, right? And so things have kind of gotten boring. And so this is really the time where buyers start to take over, and we steadily just kind of trickle up, and then the euphoric stage, happens after that. But this, in my opinion, is we may very well be in the capitulation phase, and then we get into disbelief as we start to move up. Okay, so this looks good. Now, exchange on net position change on exchanges. Okay, still slight going on to exchanges, but again, nothing crazy. We've had a decrease yesterday, and again, it's this indecision going back and forth. Some days on, some days off. Okay, again, no really clear sentiment. Bitcoin fear and greed index is definitely at extreme fear, and so this. Again, that would fit. The market usually does what the overall retail sentiment, it does the opposite of what the overall retail sentiment is. Okay, and so that would fit a more this is support. We are at capitulation, and we could start to see upside. Okay, in macro. Okay, we could definitely see more downside in the short term. Okay, guys, short-term holder supply. Look, okay, Retail starting to trickle off. We know that long-term holders are continuing to accumulate. I will show you that really, really quickly. We don't normally show this on here. We save it for our membership group. Go check that out if you have not already at EmpireTradingAcademy.com. But if we go ahead and we look at HODL or net position change, guys, we look at this, okay, this is the 5-year, and you'll notice these guys are picking up coins through bear markets, okay? And you can see lately, they're continuing to stack, just increasing rate, just continuing to stack. This is massively bullish. So these longer term holders, right, are taking over the supply. And so if we look at our short-term holder supply, right? If we look at this, okay, these are levels with bottoms of bear markets. We talked about this in the last video. These levels, these guys initiate the euphoric stage of the bull run, right? And somewhere into strength, long-term holders and big money are getting rid of their coins. They're selling. They're selling into strength and they buy into weakness. Retail, short-term holders, they do the opposite, okay? Right? They are the inexperienced players and they are liquidity, basically, for bigger and long-term holders. But so we've been watching this, right, to see if this was going to continue to move to the upside and carry us into this bull run. And we've really flattened out, okay? So they're not accumulating so much anymore. And it's the longer term holders that are accumulating. And so, you know, even if we were to see, it's basically, it's very much macro bullish either way, in my opinion. Because if we decrease this, if this continues to see downside, we know that long-term holders are accumulating, right? Because these guys are selling to long-term holders. All right. And so long-term holders are accumulating and historically accumulate at bottoms, right? At weakness already. And so that would be bearish. But if we see upside, we know, just like here, we still have the entire euphoric stage of the market's move. So it's just a matter of kind of where we are in the cycle. But either way, these levels, guys, the levels that we're at right now are all bear market low bottoms. And so if we're at the low, there's only one way to go up. So that is on chain, guys. Please hit the like, hit the subscribe if you have not already. Go check out EmpireTradingAcademy.com. Tons of premier trading tools to help you trade these markets. And we'll see you in the next video.